Okay, so let's look at that again. So I'm going to click on clients. Now I modified that, which you will not be able to do unless you're a system administrator. Okay, so let me go back and get rid of that state. Okay, so I will save that. So what you can do is go to a list, click edit, give it a new name in both places here. And in this bottom place, you can't have any spaces. This is the unique name. And then you add your criteria. And for state, which I don't know if that's a good example. If anybody wants to give me a good example, that would be great. I'm going to say state equals PA. I don't know if I have anybody in there with PA. Okay, so now all three of these have to be true. So it has to be a person account, it has to be a type of client, and it has to have a state of PA. All three of these must be true. Okay, and I have a good example. So now I'm going to say save as, so I don't overwrite my original. Okay, and I have one person in PA. So now if I look at my list view, I have clients, clients in New York, and clients in PA. Okay, so now I have a good example. Now this is probably a tough one there, Augie. Use age over 59.5. And so now what I'm going to do, we do have an age column. Now we do have one here, clients without insurance over 65. So let's look at that. And you should have this one in there, but let's look at the criteria for that one. Okay, so total insurance net cash value equals 0. So if we look at that field, I'm going to open up another window. So those of you who are new to Salesforce, I'm going to go back to my account, but I don't want to get out of where I am here. So I'm going to right-click on my previous list here, and I'm going to say Open in New Window. Okay, so I'm going to look for insurance. And our total insurance here. Okay, now that's a cumulative field, what's called a roll-up summary field, and it's actually all of the insurance, and again, this may differ for some of you. I have many different types of people on this call, but this is an insurance object related list, whatever you want to call it up here. It's records that are related to this client. Okay, so it takes that and then it gives you a total. So this one is 0. So that's where that view is coming from. So if I go back to my view, it says total insurance net cash value equals 0. Client's age is less or equal to 65.1. Okay, so our example would be, I'm going to do clients over. Now they do round it. So let me see what my example was there again. 59.5. Yeah. Okay. And then we're going to say client age greater than 59.5. Okay. Now, this is in no way identifying them as clients. Okay. So I'm going to do a save as. Not sure if I can use a period in there. Okay. So I can't use a period, so it does give me a message. And that's, you don't see that field, so you don't have to worry about it. Okay. So now I did get some results. But I'm not sure that they're clients. Okay, I'm not sure any of these are clients because they're not identified as clients. So I'm going to go into, I'm going to make a couple of these clients. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to my criteria and just think for a moment what I want to do here. So I want to narrow this down to make sure, because I can track the age of children and grandchildren if I'm tracking them. So I'm going to go to here and I'm going to say type equals and then client. Okay. And if you wanted to, okay, so this will give me all my clients. Okay, so there's all my clients over 59.5. Okay, so if you, to get back to your list view, you just go to accounts. So you're on your home page and you just click on accounts. I had a question, how to get back to your list view. So you just click on accounts and then you have your list views here under accounts. Okay, so if I go in here and I change one of these to spouse, for example. Okay, and let me do one more. Now, some companies keep their spouse separate. Some put their spouse on the same record as the husband. Okay, so it depends on how you keep that information. There's advantages and disadvantages to both. So you just kind of have to decide as a company how you're going to track the husband and the wife. But if they happen to be separate, and I wanted to see the spouse on this list as well, it's just the example I'm trying to use here to show you. So now I'm going to go edit, list view, okay, and I'm going to add down here type equals, and I'm going to add spouse. Okay, now remember what I said, by default each line has to be true for it to give me those results. But in this case, it can't be both a client and a spouse. So they give us this option right here, which is add filter criteria. So I click on that. So I just click on add filter. I can open it or close it. And it gives me a connection here. Now by default, they're connected with an AND. So it means everything has to be true for those results. So if I were to save this right now, I wouldn't get any results because none of my people are both a client and a spouse at the same time. So what I have to do, and it kind of explains it to you down here, it gives you a little example and then it has tips. I mean, Salesforce is wonderful for its help. I'm going to change this last one, which is line 3 and 4, and I'm going to put an OR there. So that means either a client or a spouse. And I have to put it in quotes, or not quotes, parentheses. So just like when you set up a math problem, you have to decide what goes in the parentheses and what doesn't go in the parentheses. Okay, so it's going to do those two together and then the other ones. Okay, so then I do a save, and then I see my spouses and my clients. Now I'm going to move over to the calendar. The other area where you would like to be able to do views is your task list. So on the calendar, you're going to click on this list button here, and that's going to give you a list of all your tasks. Last week we talked about action plans, and what an action plan does is puts a group of tasks on your calendar. So if you're going to be putting more and more tasks on your calendar, what's very important is that you learn how to manage those tasks, because what will happen is you'll have so many tasks on your list that you'll wind up ignoring them. So you have to learn how to manage those tasks. And we have a whole class on how to manage the tasks, but part of it is using the list views. Okay, so however you would want to manage your tasks, I mean, you could do perspective tasks, or you could do certain categorized tasks or time frames, whatever makes sense to you, however you work. Okay, so right now this is giving me today's tasks. But you'll notice it's also giving me overdue tasks, okay? And maybe I have, so many overdue tasks, it just makes me anxious, and I don't even want to look at my tasks. So instead of giving me all my overdue tasks as well, I just want it to give me the tasks that are today, just today. I don't want to see my overdue ones, okay? So I'm going to go into Edit, okay? And I'm going to, so what this says here is due date less than tomorrow. Okay, so it's today and then less than. So that's giving me all of my overdue ones, all right? So this really is misleading. It says today's tasks. I just want to see today's tasks, okay? So I'm going to say equal to today. And you can use these words. You can say today, tomorrow. You can say next 30 days. You can say next month, past 30 days. So you can use different terminologies. If you search your help, it'll give you all the different terms that you can use in there, okay? So now I'm going to click Save. All right, and then I just get my tasks for today. I could come in here and I could say tasks next 30 days. Save as. I always save as right away so I don't overwrite it. But again, you won't be able to overwrite it, so don't worry about that. Okay, so my due date is greater than or equal to today, and due date is less than or equal to next, what did I say, 30 days. Okay. Now down here, taking this to the next step, so we've just been looking at the criteria, I also can tell it what columns that I want to see. Okay, so if you leave it blank, it just gives you the default columns. But I want to say I want to see the subject. The name always allows you to edit it. You always have to put the name in there. That's kind of a standard Salesforce field that you want to have available. The subject, the due date, who it's assigned to, and then you may want to say who it's related to. Okay, and that is going to be related to, and that would be your client. Okay. All right, so now I've weeded out all those overdue ones, okay, and I'm seeing all my tasks for the next 30 days, and I see who they're related to. And that's how you can use your views to help you manage your tasks. Now, as I said, we have, I'm forgetting which classes I have coming up, but I think next class I have working with your calendar, so I go over kind of tasks again. I generally always talk about the tasks because I think it's really helpful to learn how to manage them so that you can be productive in Salesforce and learn how to use those tasks to your advantages.